right. It is a Tuesday night after about, I don't know, month and a half off or something like that. But we're back ready to go for another episode of Goal Horns and Fight Songs. We're getting ready up to get going with the season, basically. And it's about that time that we start talking schedules and rosters for all of our favorite teams.
Yeah, we're gonna do something a little different this year. Last year or the last couple years, we went through all the teams and all the rosters, but with all the time in between episodes this off season, that's not really feasible. Plus, there's a couple that have chosen to wait for forever to release their full rosters. We won't name names or anything, but there's a couple, maybe one at the beginning of the alphabet, one at the end of the alphabet, who would be real cool if they could get their shit together and put those out. But you do
Uh,
you.
namely, your favorite squad.
It's
I can say it. You can't just because you have a rapport.
I could say it. I don't care to say it or not say it. Western Michigan sucks at social media. They're like last I heard they were supposed to do all of the incoming freshmen on Monday. The transfers were supposed to be today, and the returning guys were supposed to be tomorrow. We got two freshmen yesterday. We got two freshmen today. We have no idea which transfers are coming. Months ago, we got three of the fifth year seniors. We still have, you know, guess all of a roster other than piecing it together here and there. Nobody knows what's going on. It's as far as like fans go, but hey, the university knows, and I guess that's the most important thing. But
Well, I mean, for transfers, at least you have the ring.
yeah, I mean that's true.
Uh,
That's
you know, kind of, maybe there was a last minute guy that they didn't get picked up or whatever, but at least you have that spreadsheet from the ring.
yeah. I mean they did have what was the last news? They did have one of the goalie that was supposed to be coming in from Minnesota. He ended up transferring somewhere else because they got the late. I don't know if it was a late transfer, but they picked up the kid who was originally committed to Northern, uh, who's coming with his brother. So they would
Oh,
have had
yeah.
they would have had four goalies on the roster, but they're back to three with Rowe coming back, Larson, and then I have his name written down here somewhere. Hampton Slukinski, who's been playing with Team USA, played for the Fargo Force. Him being the freshman coming in, so there wasn't really enough room for a guy who had 85 letters in his last name, so they kept the easier ones. And I believe he is now going to. Ooh, is it? Oh, I don't think it's either
Y-
Stonebrook
Stonehill.
or yeah Stonehill or Linden. What I want to say. Let me.
I think it's Stonehill.
You had 87 letters, and I don't remember which one started your last name.
I think it was Stonehill
Just
just because
do this. This should tell me.
Lindenwood would have stuck out a little bit more to me.
Either way, let's see. This is how we do things
You
here.
need like the
It is
Jeopardy
Lindenwood.
theme songs. Damn it.
Fucking knew it.
Sorry, Soka. I was wrong. Yeah, the puppy dog look at me like, why are you swearing?
Yeah, he is going to Lindenwood now.
Yeah, good for him.
Oh, a
But
couple. This is Alex Azalandis, former Western Michigan goaltender who transferred to AIC, is now also going to Lindenwood. So a couple of guys with that at one point had ties to the Bronco hockey team in Lindenwood's organization now.
and not to make it about Lindenwood, but good for them. They seem to have brought in a lot of good transfers, and they're starting to make a name for themselves, kind of like St. Thomas, who will be a part of the NCHC in the next coming years. Um, they're building that program up quickly.
And that's, I mean, the benefit of the transfer portal. There is a lot of talent available every year. There could be, this being the last year of the COVID season, not going to be a lot of fifth year guys around unless they're injury guys or redshirt guys. But there could be a boost to the talent pool once again if, depending on how that lawsuit between the one player who was in the CHL and the schools and the NCAA that he has filed his lawsuit against goes, that could open the door for CHL guys coming across the border and hitting the NCAA ranks too.
And I think I saw our newest employee. I was talking with him, and I think there was like 370 some transfers. It was 371 or 374,
I have it open
and I
right now.
can't remember.
There were 347 total transfers this year, and
347. Okay.
68 are still available.
Yeah. So there's talent out there. It's just how much do you value that talent? And we learned about this when I was talking with Bennett. Um, we learned about it with Sam. Basically, you enter the transfer portal and you don't know where you're going. It like you don't know who's going to pick you up.
Well, I mean,
And
there still has to be a conversation had. I believe. I mean, there's you don't know who's going to offer you for sure, but
yeah. That's kind of where I'm getting. It's like,
and if
you might get one offer, you might get 10.
yeah, and I guess it also kind of depends on the player because there's been articles and reports and news that guys kind of know where they're going even before they've officially declared in the portal and the behind the scenes that we will not see or know of depending um all the back shady deals that happen, but there's definitely possibilities that some of these guys enter the portal. I mean, there's 68 players left. Some of those guys did not know who was going to look at them if they were going to get an offer. Are they still going to get an offer? Are they going to have to look Division 3, AC, was it ACHA?
Yep. Yeah.
Uh,
That's the club.
yeah. Are they going to, potentially, depending on how their hockey career goes, are they going to look to overseas? There's still a lot for those guys to figure out, and there's a lot of opportunity every year hockey wise. So it's not guaranteed that just because you're in the portal, one, you're going to get picked up, two, that you're going to stay in college hockey. Because who was it? Your goalie.
The stay skull.
Yeah, he jumped in the portal and then
Yep. And
realized
then
that like he didn't really want to do that. He couldn't see himself playing anywhere but Duluth in the college rank. So he's playing. I think he signed a pro deal overseas.
yeah, in Finland.
Yeah. So
Yep. I'm sorry, but who is that ugly bastard over your left shoulder?
left shoulder. Oh, this one. This guy right here.
Yep.
That,
Yeah, him.
that fella. Right there.
Yeah.
That's our good buddy
Yeah,
Trev.
that one.
That's our good buddy Trev. And then his goalie pal,
Yeah.
Will Massey over here. Right here.
I'm gonna feel weird. I'm gonna send him a picture right now.
I think I already sent him. Well, I sent him one of the.
I know, but it's
And look, this isn't even like
now.
this is real. This is on my wall. This is a thing. This is not a picture that's just floating back
Man.
here. There's no pretend green screen back here. This is really here. See, I can move it. It's fancy. It's a pretty cool thing to own, I suppose. All right. Can we? Where are we going here? What are we doing? You're farting around.
All right. So
Oh yeah, I should
I'm
probably get
I'm
the.
I'm sending this message.
I should probably get the
Uh,
right thing open. Sending links for. What are you doing here? This one.
all right. So back to what we were originally talking about.
Back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Yep. Uh, schedules and rosters. We're gonna start out with Colorado College and their schedule.
Sketties for days.
They have a, and I think kind of what we've done in the past is just go over the non-conference schedule, because well, everybody plays everybody in the conference. Uh, changing a little bit this year, but they start off with Briarcrest, which I'm assuming is a Canadian school as an exhibition, and then they clusterfuck that is Northern Michigan as their actual home opener.
Let's see. Who are you? You are. They do not have a lot of sports programs, I'll tell you that. Briarcrest has men's hockey, men's basketball, men's volleyball, and women's volleyball. And
So they're Canadian.
I'm gonna agree that they may be Canadian, considering their website is gobriarcrest.ca. That .ca is a
Oh, that's what
solid
gave that away.
indicator
Yeah.
of they're the Clippers, that they are Canadian. All right.
So good tune up for CC, and then that Northern Michigan series, I think for everyone else that plays Northern this year, that's going to be a telling series.
Hmm. Let's see. What can I say about Northern? They have found themselves in quite the pickle.
Mm-hmm.
I do I do like their head coach. They end up getting Dave Shayak, who spent the last couple
Yep.
of years at St. Cloud State. Before that, he was a longtime assistant here at Western Michigan. I don't have anything bad to say about the guy. I think he's in a tough spot. I think that this year is not one to judge his coaching prowess on. That being said, maybe he comes out and surprises the hell out of everybody and gets those boys together as one of those kind of, misfit teams. A hard luck story, that a Cinderella tale, if you will. Um, but yeah, I honestly I don't expect much out of Northern Michigan this year. They lost a lot of guys in the transfer portal. They lost an
They
entire
lost
coach.
damn they lost damn near their entire team in the
Yeah,
transfer portal.
they lost a lot of recruits.
I,
They lost an entire coaching staff. Um, yeah, I mean, if
this
if Colorado College does not sweep this series, they don't have to win big. But if they don't sweep this series, I think it shows them overlooking competition, and that's a bad way to start the year. That's what I think.
I they should sweep it, and for Northern Michigan, I think this for the coaching staff, this is a redshirt year. If your fans and your athletic department are going to chastise you off of a really bad year, if it turns out to be a really bad year, something's wrong because you lost your damn team. like everybody either went pro or transferred out. It was like what, 19 guys or something like that out of the 23-man roster.
Let's see. I still have the portal or the yeah. I still have the portal page open. Let's see.
And they
It's
lost damn near their whole team.
oh, it's gonna be a big number. Let's see. I mean, luckily they're in the CCHA.
But the
Let's
the
see.
point is you're gonna lose recruits, like you said, because that's the right of the recruit. You were recruited by said coach. Um, as we've learned, they may not be the actual person recruiting you, but you're recruited to a school. You want to play for that school, and then that coach leaves while you can go somewhere else. And maybe that school was not the number one option for you. So now you lose those guys, and they just have to figure out where their team is coming from. So uh it'll be interesting. But if Colorado College wants to make that next step, I think they have to win this series by at least 2 goals per game.
So they had 21 enter the portal.
Oh, I was
Two.
I was low with 19.
Well, hang on now. Two withdrew their status in the portal, and I guess are coming back to the team. If I'm reading this right. Um, and then one player who was originally the goaltender who was originally supposed to transfer to St. Cloud State, I guess, has chosen to retire. And they are also getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys transferring in. So including two former NCHC players.
Oh, they're
So I mean,
I guess it's one of those deals where if you were playing for that program, it's not ideal. But if you're a recruit and then you see these things happen with all the other guys leaving, that's probably a benefit.
I mean,
But
it depends on. But again, like the big thing there was they lost their entire coaching staff, and as we've
mhm,
learned from players and history, like guys are not committing strictly to programs for the sake of the program. Like there might be some schools where that might happen. Like maybe North Dakota gets a couple of guys who are committing because it's North Dakota. Cameron Berg from Omaha when he transferred from Omaha to North Dakota said like he had always dreamt of playing there, but they didn't necessarily go after him coming out of juniors or high school. But it was a place that he
uh,
wanted to play. So when the opportunity came and the transfer portal opened and he got the offer, that's where he wanted to go. So he jumped because
right.
it's North Dakota. I mean, there might be some guys who strictly wanted to play at Northern Michigan. Maybe it's closer to home for them. It's a spot that they wanted to play, but I think most guys are going because of the relationship they built with the coaching staff and the coaching staff being gone. How many of those guys also had ties to the new coaching staff, or how many of those guys was the new coaching staff able to reach out to and convince like, hey, we have this huge turnover. There's going to be playing time if you're committed to staying here and playing and coming and you know, taking up one of those spots that maybe we can offer more playing time than we could in the past because of the way things shook out. So there's those I think play into account too. But again, like this is more for me, this puts a lot of pressure on Colorado College out of the gate and shows if that team is really prepared to take the steps that they've been working towards the last couple seasons, but they can't overlook the game in front of them. They can't overlook the start
And
of the season.
exactly. And what Grant Patolini, um, a lot of those kids, they probably did want to play for Northern Michigan and play for a national championship winning uh coach, but now he's gone. Now he's in the AHL. Um, you get kids, to my point, it was you get kids that were committed and they were like, okay, maybe we're gonna sit out a year, or whatever, uh, get that experience, but now they're playing regardless of that. CC has to win. And
Yeah.
that's the reason I say they have to win by 2 goals both games. In order for them to build on what they have done. Because you're playing a team that is all new kids. You're I'm not saying it's like when St. Thomas played St. Cloud State when they first came into Division 1, but you got to win by multiple goals. You have to it has to be 2 or more to be successful. That's my opinion.
I mean, I guess to the maybe the voting public, yes, but I mean, a win counts the same whether it's by 5 goals or it's by 1 goal. Like a win is a win. So to me, it doesn't necessarily matter if they win close or they win big. It just they can't they can't overlook that opponent. To me, that's the bigger issue: is how do they play those games? Do they look like, do they get caught off guard by a team that they think they're supposed to stomp, or do we see in game one what we saw from St. Cloud State in that first meeting with St. Thomas? A team that's able to put up goals and then kind of use it as an extra exhibition game and run some things that they want to run, or maybe get an extra look at a goaltender in live action play.
Yeah.
At least in game two, do you use game one, and then depending on how game one goes, it allows you to maybe mix up your lines a little bit game two, or to play that backup goaltender, um, and get him a look early in the season as opposed to just relying on him if Umberto's hurt or something, along those lines.
And I think uh they do have that exhibition, but that extra exhibition wouldn't hurt, especially when kind of the less strong of the two Alaska teams, but they do have to travel their second series. They're playing the Seawolves of Alaska Anchorage.
Hey, don't count those boys out. They took it to Western a couple of years ago in
It,
their first year back, and that was a situation where I think Western kind of overlooked them and got caught. Western did come back the second game and win that second one, but they got punched in the mouth that first game, and it's another team that I think could do that same thing. Like, they play Alaska Anchorage plays an independent schedule. Every game is important for them to have an opportunity to be there at the end of the year. Uh, and really, the same could be said for Colorado. Here's the thing about Colorado College: they were third in the NCHC last year, and got jumped by 2 teams for the conference or the national tournament. Like, every game is important for Colorado College too.
and I think I was just looking at this. I'm pulling it up right now, trying to get to that spreadsheet. Independence. I think yeah, Anchorage pulled a guy from Bemidji, from Mankato, Providence, and Union. So those are kids. The kid from Mankato, well, kid from Providence didn't play. Kid from Mankato played 5 games, but you have 21 games from the kid from Union and 28 from the kid from Bemidji. And it's not like they're playing bad schedules either. Um, they're playing tough teams. So that Anchorage team, I just would put Fairbanks above Anchorage as far as the
I mean, I probably would too if I were to rank them, but I'm just like they can beat teams, and to them every game, whether it's the first game of the season or the last game of the season, is important because they don't have a conference tournament to hope to make
hmm
or to play in.
hmm And
Um,
then it doesn't necessarily get any easier for CC because they have their home and home with Air Force.
they got their 11-mile road trip. Playing
And
two games in the same city but different arenas. Uh, and they play Air Force pretty much every year, whether it's a 2 game set or a 1 game set. That's a pretty. I think they play for a trophy between those two. I don't know if it's the same way they do the Denver one, where it's just a 1 game thing, but two teams that are familiar with each other. They play consistently, and yeah, it's a home and home. Um, Honestly, there's opportunities here for Colorado to get off to a really really quick start, and
mhm,
maybe of the three opening non-conference series, I think Air Force might be the one to give them their strongest test. But if they continue to improve as they have each of the last 3 years, they're definitely a team to keep an eye on, and they could just as easily be 6-0, hosting Arizona State for their first NCHC series. And that's the next opponent. The only reason I bring it up is because it will be Arizona State's first actual NCHC series. They've played
yeah.
a lot of the teams in the NCHC the last few years, but this will be their official introduction and welcoming to the conference.
And I think if CC is 4-2 going into that Arizona State series, it's a disappointment for them, just based off the strides that they've made. Um,
I think it depends on
the,
who the losses are to. If they're
well,
if they get
I
swept by anybody, yes, I would say it's a disappointment. But if they sweep Northern and they split with Alaska, say Alaska takes that first game, and then they split, the home team wins each game against Air Force, I'm not as necessarily worried about that, uh, as I would be like, say they get swept by Northern or they get swept by Alaska. There, I think I might have a little bit more question marks, but maybe the travel plays more of a role going up to Alaska than we think. I think that's the why
I
I'm not necessarily disappointed at 4-2. 3-3 is a disappointment, and anything under 500 for sure, though.
and I might just have higher expectations for them. You have to sweep Northern and the travel, you have to at least split the Air Force one. That's kind of iffy, but if you really do want to be a top tier program and you're not having to travel that far, I think you have to sweep Air Force.
I mean, best
And,
case
and,
scenario,
and
yes.
no disrespect to them,
No,
but that's why I'm saying 4-2 is a disappointment because I think
I think 6-0 feels a little out of reach to me. 5-0 or 5-1 seems uh
that's what they should be. That's I think that's
5-1 seems realistic, but I'm not going to
yeah.
be overly disappointed at 4-2. If you're sitting at if you have a 666 win percentage after the first 3 weeks of the season, like, you're not sitting bad. But anything 500 and below, yes, I'm disappointed. But I'll take 4-2 and realize that there's some things we need to work on. But I want to be 5-1,
hmm
if not 6-0.
Also, that would be 0.75 win percentage, 4-2. Wouldn't that? No,
No,
no.
it's 2/3.
Yeah, 4-2. Never mind.
It's
6.
it's
I was
four out of
thinking 8.
six.
I was thinking 8. My bad.
Well, that would still be it'd be 6 out of 8 for it to be 0.75.
No, no, I was thinking 8 games. I can't math.
Yeah, but four would be half of 8. So they would have to be 6-2 to be at 0.75 of
I
eight
know
games.
that. Yeah,
No matter what,
that.
your math is terrible.
No, that's what I was saying. And again,
You're as
yes, my
bad at
math is
math as the
terrible.
White Sox are at baseball.
I'm our truth right
They
now.
are they are
Eh, my bad.
40 games back or some nonsense.
I am the R truth of this
Oh,
podcast.
I
Uh,
honestly, looking at this, I like Colorado College's non-conference.
I do too. And their other non-conference, they have Providence at the beginning of December.
That's a long trip out to Rhode Island.
And then they also have Augustana, who is this their first year or second year as a Division One? I think first as a full-time Division One.
First is a full-time Division One, but what is it? They're not playing. They're not playing a full CCHA schedule though, but they're still eligible for the CCHA playoffs. There's something weird going on with Augustana because of the whole St. Thomas
Yeah.
leaving the conference in 2026.
Well, and also because St. Thomas was basically the best team in the CCHA last year, but they weren't eligible to make the actual NCAA tournament because they had jumped up divisions, even though the NCAA was like, hey, you need to move up, but because we're making you move up, you don't get to play in the tournaments. It was really weird. Um,
Yeah, I mean St. Thomas still isn't eligible for the tournament. They're not eligible until their first year in the NCHC.
yeah, and to me that's dumb. And Don Lucia, who is the commissioner of the CCHA, has said so himself. I don't understand that. But Augustana, you know what? Good for them. They're getting a conference. And also I did skip over uh
Exhibition game with UNLV
yep,
over
CC
the
does play UNLV. Uh
over the holidays.
I don't know. I do like their non-conference schedule. And even a little bit their conference schedule because we don't really know what Arizona State's going to have. Um, and you guys, ye, it, it is at Lawson, but you guys did lose your goalie in Bussy.
Hmm.
And St. Cloud, they're
Well, that's Bussy like 3 years ago, bro. Cameron Rose.
Bussy.
You said Bussy and Brandon Rose coming back for a fifth year.
I don't know what I'm doing.
We haven't.
Uh,
I mean, we haven't.
oh no, no, I was thinking of St. Cloud because I was looking at them.
Yeah, St.
And I
Cloud
was thinking
lost
of
Dominic Bassey,
Dominic Bassey.
but they quit playing him at the end of the year anyway.
Um,
But yeah,
but we still don't know Bussy Bassey. So,
uh they have
uh,
two series with let's see. They have two series with Arizona State, Western, Denver, obviously, and then two series with St. Cloud, one with Miami, one with North Dakota, and one with Omaha and Duluth.
mhm.
So, and hey, dude, Colorado College went up and swept North Dakota in North Dakota last year, a couple one goal overtime games. So, again, we could see Colorado College make some steps and be an improved team. I kind of expect North Dakota to maybe be improved too, but this is going to be a fun year with 9 teams, and I think only the top 8 make the playoffs this year.
I think so, but I'm also confused because wasn't this supposed to be the first year with the pods?
You mean like the only year with the pot? I mean, it is. They did it right. They played
No.
they play Arizona State and Denver twice each.
Oh, because yeah, then you have two series. I was looking at
It's like you can just smell the burning plastic.
the St. Cloud. I was confused. Anyway, moving on.
Are we though? But yeah, no, I think their schedule is definitely well balanced, and hopefully they can win the games in the right ways to not get jumped by teams and really make a run at the national tournament at the end of the year. I'm interested to see how their roster stacks up. I get that they weren't. There was a lot of turnover on this team too, just because of the way the college is set up. They don't have a lot of
Yeah.
fifth year guys because or grad students, just because the university doesn't have grad programs.
Yeah, and that is an interesting aspect to what they have going on. Um, the other interesting thing is how short their non-conference schedule is to start the year because yes, they do have the exhibition, but then they only have 3 series before they jump in with Arizona State. And our next school, Denver, they have uh 5 series before they jump into conference play because they have
Again, I wanna go over some guys from Colorado College before we move on to Denver, though. Some guys to from the I want to look at the roster a smidgen. The probably the biggest name coming back is Imberko, right? He's gonna be third year goalie. Um, has really taken over that net and solidified that position. Has given them opportunities to win. They I'm trying to see if there's any big name transfers going to Colorado this year. Ty Gallagher transferred in from BU. Charlie
yep.
Strobel transferred in from Minnesota. Chase McClin. They had 3 Big 10 incoming transfers and 3 guys drafted since 2020. 2 7th rounders in 2020 to Nashville and 2021 to Boston. And a second-round pick, Brady Cleveland from Wisconsin, drafted by Detroit in 2023 in the second round. So, definitely some talent coming back in for what they lost. But most of what they lost were seniors, so they were potentially going to lose those guys anyway. They only lost 4 underclassmen, so that's not extraordinarily terrible. Stanley Cooley is a guy who I think may stand out. Noah Laba played really, really good last year. Um, Trying to think if there's anyone else that really kind of stands out. Zachary Wisdom had some great games last year, and he was kind of a threat scoring as a freshman. So it'll be interesting to see how he progresses and develops. There's some pieces to this roster, and they're going to be interesting to watch. It's just a matter of winning the right games and making sure they're consistent and really just playing to their strengths, which have been defensively and getting timely, important goals. And I think they just need to stay to that. They don't need to have, the nation's leading goal scorer on their team to be a productive team, successful team.
Now I unmuted myself. Um, Mecca came home. Uh, but I do think Denver, they're returning their. I know he was in the top five of goal or well of points, and then they're also returning. I you might have said this, and I just missed it trying to let a puppy dog upstairs. But uh, they're returning the top 10 draft pick
Denver is?
in
You mean Denver?
yeah
Because
Denver.
moving on, because I was definitely talking about Colorado College though, but moving
Oh,
on
were
over.
you?
Yeah. Oh, so your brain was also on mute. That's good to know. All right,
No,
continue.
because
As
I
you were, sir, as you were.
no, I had said moving on, and I said the Denver schedule
Yeah, and
with
then I went back and said that I wanted to talk about some of the guys on the Colorado College roster because we didn't
oh
get to that part yet. But then we have
I
moved
did
on
not
since then. We're good. Continue. But
I
yeah,
did not hear that because I took these things off. Um, okay, so continue.
but no, I mean, they do bring back one of the biomes drafted by your Minnesota Wild defenseman. I think the younger one was Zeev, right?
Z was the one that was drafted.
Yeah, because the older brother, he's not coming back. But was he?
I think he was old enough, maybe. No, I thought he was just a junior last year.
I don't know.
I thought they were fresh. I thought they were 2 years apart.
Let's see. I mean, even if he was a junior, he still could have left early.
Well, that I realize that. Um,
Shy. Yeah, he was a junior last year. Where did he go? Selected by Detroit. Oh, he signed a 3-year entry level deal with Detroit on April 17th, 2024.
well, there you go.
I mean, this is a team that the upperclassmen have they've accomplished everything there is to accomplish NCHC wise. 2 years ago, they claimed the Penrose. They didn't do that last year, but last year they won the Frozen Faceoff at the XL Energy Center. They won the NCAA National Tournament at the XL Energy Center. Um, so yeah, a lot of those upperclassmen, if they had opportunities to take, they jumped on them. It's kind of surprising that double check and make sure he's actually coming back again before I open my mouth and insert my foot to it. Because it was surprising that Rizzo came back last year, considering Philly was really trying to steal him away up until like classes started, and it looks like they did get him this year. So Massimo Rizzo will be a missing piece there. They do still have Jack Devine. Um, they have Carter King. They have the pieces that they could still be a deep team. They still have Coach Carl, who will be coaching Team USA again after winning the World Juniors gold last year with Team USA. They'll be looking to repeat that.
Uh, Jared Wright was the name of the guy. That's our newest employee's friends, and he had 25 points last year as a sophomore. So that's that's a positive. And for Denver, it seems like we're a record that has a scratch in it that just keeps repeating, but they don't rebuild, they reload.
Yeah, I mean, really, the only flaw they had last year was their goalie went down, and they had to run through like 4 goaltenders. If their goalie stays healthy, and they had some injuries at the end of the season, but it didn't really slow them down. It slowed their offense down a little bit. I mean, they scored, I think, an average of like 2 goals in the a game in the NCAA tournament, but I mean they did enough to win the damn thing. Um, and Matt Davis played extremely well in the Frozen Faceoff and the national tournament. So goaltending wise, offense wise, they're a team that can definitely hit repeat and do it again. Uh, and they might have really have lost maybe the least. They did lose Rizzo. They did lose Shea. Uh, they lost Lemaire. He entered the transfer portal. He's coming to Western Michigan. But I mean, they still have an extremely deep roster, and they should be a top two, three, if not one team in the NCHC again. For
And well, in the country for that matter, uh, I was asked by Bennett, you know, who do you think the top, like who do you think the favorite is this year? And I said, as much as I hate to say it, probably Denver. Uh, They just, I, it, odds makers might say something different, but with Carl as the head coach, what they have coming back, I don't know how you go against them.
I mean, really, the only thing maybe that again, like the we know the college hockey schedule is not like a lot of these guys coming from juniors. They play a longer junior schedule than they do NCAA schedule. But as you were kind of pointing out, they have five straight non-conference opponents before running into North Dakota.
Hmm.
And they start their year in Alaska playing Anchorage. Uh, then they're back home for 2 weeks, and they hit the East Coast, back home, open NCHC play at Grand Forks. Like they have Maine to start the second half of the year. They
And
finish their with a home and home with Colorado College like they usually do. But I mean they're bouncing here and there and everywhere. Two series with Miami, only one
I
with
think
Western this year at Western.
I think because yeah, Maine, that one it's out there, so that one could be a little difficult, but I I think that opening series, that's where they might take a loss up in Alaska. I I don't know enough about Northeastern Wisconsin. They're kind of trying to build that one. I don't know how many guys are still there from the mass exodus from Mankato, Yale, and Lindenwood. They're still building the program. Uh, I think they come out of it 7-3. We'll say 7-3.
Yeah, I mean I don't know much about these teams. I know Northeastern lost. Was it Gunner? But they got um was it Joey LeMay? Is that his name from Omaha?
Yeah, that sounds right.
I know it's something similar. Let me double check it though. I want to be. And I mean Northeastern, they play a solid game. They're generally one of the better teams in what the Hockey East.
I think they're Hockey East. Yeah, because they're not ECAC and they're not Atlantic Hockey, so
I
they
know they
should be Hockey East.
I know they play in the Beanpot. Yeah, Joey LeMay went to transferred to Northeastern, fourth round pick for Washington in 2021. And he's played against Denver. He knows what they're all about. So, it,
Um, no, just I'm gonna
No,
double check this here.
it's hard to say
Uh,
that they're not.
yeah,
They're not one
they
of
are
the not one of the most well coached teams, if not the most well coached team in the conference. If you really want to take his resume,
well, and you look at what Northeastern has done recently, and even Sam transferring out, they've been very, very good. And they have that recency bias, but also the pedigree for what they've done. So I think that's going to be a tough series. I think they take a Denver takes a loss to Northeastern in that series, and then I also do think that they'll take one against Wisconsin.
yeah, I mean that's they are just straight running it through until December.
Hmm.
Like, do they have uh, when do they have a single? They had to have like. Do they have a single weekend off in that? Let me see.
Mm,
October 5th and 6th. All right. Come back, you stupid calendar. I wasn't done looking at you yet.
so I
Oh,
don't.
yep. Yeah, they have the second week of the season. So they two against Alaska, then they have a bye week,
Oh yeah,
and then it's straight
great, true.
just freaking. Hang on, let me make sure I was reading the right thing because I might not have been. But I think I was. Yeah.
I'm right on their website.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they don't have October 11th and 12th. They don't have games, and then 1, 2 of November 8, 9, 15, 16,
and the
22, 23.
the
Oh, and then the end
start.
of November. They also have a break right before they come to play Western. They have a weekend off.
Oh yeah, 30th and first. But
Yeah,
regardless, I mean, the start of their schedule is, as far as conference, that's not great. In North Dakota, Arizona State, then at Lawson, and then the split with Colorado College for the first two games of the series.
yeah, but I think that weekend off right before Western is probably the like the best time to have that weekend off.
Hmm.
They get to spend, they get to enjoy Thanksgiving. They get to have a big old fat turkey meal. They don't have to play that weekend. They get a break before playing Western at Western. Like that's, I don't know if you could plan that any better because Western's got a big home and home the weekend before Denver comes to town, which we'll get to next week.
Yep,
Talk about
next
Western's
week.
schedule. So
All right. Now, are we okay to move on?
yeah, we can move on to Miami now.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss anything.
I mean, I don't know how you missed like half of the thing to talk about. What did you win? Oh, you were MAC champions. Good for you, Miami. In
Because
football.
I took my headphones off like I've told you three
I
times.
don't know why you took your headphones off in the first damn place. You're the only person I'm talking to.
Because I had to let Ahsoka upstairs
Uh
and
huh.
shut my door.
And it's just rude.
Yeah, blame the dog. I'm gonna
I will.
tell her that.
I will. A dog has no sense of the importance of other people's times. It's a very selfish dog.
So Miami, you dipshit. Um,
New coaching staff, new coach. Some changes were made after winning all of 10 conference games in 5 years.
oh my God,
If
the
if that
just
if that. Um. So yeah, so
we
changes
we
were.
might be being generous. Like, oh my God.
I think it's close, if not less than 10 wins in the 5 years that Coach
Like I
Bergeron was
said,
with Miami.
we may be being generous, Um, but they kind of there seems to be a CCHA theme within the NCHC. Because Miami opens at Ferris State. And let's see, Colorado College opens with Northern Michigan, and Denver opens
Oh,
with
Anchorage.
Anchorage. So independent, but they actually they
Anchorage.
Lindenwood will be a CCHA team.
Anchorage is playing freaking everybody in the
Yeah, they
NCHC.
are. They are. Um, but Miami, Ferris State, don't know a whole lot about this team. And I think if I remember correctly, they were
Which one?
not
Miami or Ferris?
Ferris. I
Ferris
just said
was.
it.
Well, we don't know a lot about either one of these teams because Miami's been absolutely basement dwelling for the last 7 years. And we never know what we're gonna get from them. Ferris
And
State, I have seen the last couple years. Um,
I think they were in
we
the bottom of the CCHA last year.
Western won and lost a shootout against them last year. Western and Ferris essentially made a trade in the off season. We sent Colbert their way and got Jack Misek, whose brother played at Northern. Um, they, they,
Uh,
they
this can I just want to stop you because I looked up where they finished last year and their overall record.
they were not great last year. That is
10, 24, and 2.
again, they had an off year last year. I won't say they didn't. I'm just saying that I saw them and they split with Western. I think they played. No, they didn't play in the GLI last year.
I Okay, so 10, 24, and 2.
Wait,
I am
wait,
just
wait, wait. I mean that seems like it should be a fair matchup with Miami then.
well, that's what I'm saying. I'm just looking up what Miami was last year
Seven
because
26 and 3.
so yeah, this should be a grudge match,
Wait, what was
gloves
Ferris's
up
last year?
10, 10, 24, and 2
Was that
was their
conference?
record.
Was that conference or
No,
non-conference?
that's overall.
Okay, yeah. Miami overall was 7 26 and 3. They were 1 21 and 2 in the conference.
Yeah, so
Um,
this is going to be a knockdown, drag out, gloves off, bare knuckle match between the two teams.
Miami lost in overtime and won. Lost in overtime 5-4 to start the season against Ferris last year, and won 5-2 in game two.
Dear God. Um, yeah, so safe to say that's not appointment television, and uh thank God we will not be able to watch that because it is at Ferris State.
Why is Ferris getting that game getting to host that series again? That's weird.
I don't know, but it is there.
Yeah, it
Um,
was there last year too.
then they have Anchorage in Oxford, and then they have a
Home and home with Robert
split
Morris
series. Yeah, split series with Robert Morris. So
on a Thursday and a Saturday.
I think, well, we'll just go these first six games to start. But I think
Ooh, they have
if
a
if they get out of those first three series, 3-3. I think they're doing really well.
They also have 5 straight non-conference series to start the year.
Mm-hmm. Because they have Lindenwood and then RPI both at home. So
Um,
if, I think 4-6 is good for them out of the first five, even though they have three out of the first five series and uh, seven out of the first 10 games at home. I think
what you think? What do you think?
uh, 4-6. I think 4-6 is good for them.
I mean, that would put them at half of their win total from last year. Oh man, Miami, you're so bad. Please stop.
It's painful that like 4-6 they should be ecstatic to get out of
Ugh.
because
Let's see.
like I said, I think if
Who
they're 3-3
who is on this
out of the
team?
first six,
Who is on this team? I know they got some decent recruits for the next couple of years. Like some guys that knew their coaching staff. Who did they pick up in the portal? Let's see here.
I'm gonna look at
They
their freshmen.
had 2 guys enter the portal but withdraw and return to Miami. Senior defenseman and 2 senior defensemen. That's good for them. I feel like you want a little bit of experience on the blue line. Um, they also got senior. Wait, what? Also played at. Did he transfer back to Miami after playing at Augustana? Am I reading that right?
Uh, could be. Well, while you do that, they have six freshmen coming in. Oh, that's right. He did transfer. Nick Donato, which I have a feeling that he is Ryan Donato's
He did.
brother.
What? What a weird guy. Prior to 2020. So
Um,
he. Okay.
well, it's better than entering the portal and then coming right back to your school.
I. Is it? I mean, so Brian Silver played at
Yes.
played at Miami from 2020 to 2023. Appeared in 37 games, had 3 points, blah, 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 blah,
You're doing great.
2 goals, 1 assist, including a breakaway in overtime to win against your Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs on February 26th, 2022. Uh, Went to Augustana for 2023-2024. Played 16 games. Credited with 5 shots on goal. Was on the CCHA All Academic Team, named to the Dean's List before transferring back to Miami.
I He may be a very nice person, and I am not trying to sound like a jerk to anybody at Augustana and their program and everything. But how are you a Division 1 hockey player and you play 16 games at Augustana, a brand new program? I'm sorry.
Maybe,
Every I,
maybe he got hurt, and you're being a real dick right now.
he damn well better have been hurt because if you weren't and you only played 16 games, well then Miami also has a real problem if they're accepting you back and they think you can play.
And you
I
played 37 games for them over 3 years.
A monkey could play for them at this point.
I
I
mean,
I, I what's the
they
like
lose.
most valuable chimp or something like that, the chimpanzee playing hockey.
I believe it was MVP, and it was most valuable primate.
That's what it was.
It was the hockey
Um,
version of Airbud
yeah.
with a monkey.
Uh,
A chimpanzee. Chimpanzees are not monkeys; they don't have tails.
well, close enough. You knew what I was talking about. We got there.
Saying, just hitting you with a little bit of science.
The that shows where Miami sits as a program. I guess is what I was getting to, and I'm not trying to disparage anybody from going to the program and the fact that they're actually able to play Division 1 hockey because even people that go to Stonehill or Long Island University and are able to play hockey, they're better than I will ever be. Uh, but dear God, if you can barely play for that team, no.
Again, maybe he got hurt, and you're just being mean. I was just more surprised that he transferred away and then decided, yeah, I'll go back there. I mean,
And again,
he,
it it,
he played
it
half as many games in one season as he did his entire career there previously. So why not? You know,
what does that say about Miami though? Where this guy wanted to transfer out and he wasn't getting playing time at Augustana, or maybe he was injured, but decides to go back to Miami because he knows he'll play there.
does he? Maybe he just wanted to be closer to his friends. Maybe he missed them. He made a lot of friends in 3 years.
I'm going to fucking kill you.
I Man, I want to. I want to have nice things to say about Miami. There just aren't any.
No, you don't because you're defending them.
Yeah, I want to say nice things about them. There just aren't
So you
any
let me
real
say,
nice things to say about that. You're saying mean things about a player. I'm saying mean things in
I'm saying me.
general about Miami. And really, the only reason that he would want to go back there is because he missed his friends. Because their hockey team, until they prove otherwise, is still a basement fire.
I was saying mean things about their program too.
You were saying mean things about the player, more so than the
Uh,
program.
about both.
We can agree to disagree, sir. And I
I, I,
believe I said more so.
I,
So
I'm gonna fucking kill you. Um,
for the third straight year,
eh,
Miami does have a player enter the portal who makes the 4.5 hour trip up north to a better hockey program as of late. Robbie Drasner joins the likes of Kirk Larson and Joe Cassetti, trading in the red and white for the brown and gold. So see how the senior defenseman does here.
oh, they like the Brown because they're so used to being part of a dog shit program.
Um,
Um,
you watch your mouth.
I'm saying Miami.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh. Yeah, I used to wear them. Yeah. I'll remember that.
Uh,
I'll remember that.
well, until because potentially we have somebody joining us, which I did not think was going to happen in a few minutes. But
I mean, we still have your team to talk about. Your
yeah, I was going to say my maroon and very dehydrated gold colored team.
Why don't you guys like? Could
Uh,
you like be less individualized in your color scheme?
you know, we like being our own people.
Do you though? Because I mean, you share the exact same color scheme with one team in your own state.
No, no,
Who
no. We're the dehydrated gold color.
you? It's based. They're like the same colors.
No, no, no. So the main school, that's like you might need a glass of water or two for the gold. Our school is you've been at a music festival for about 3 days
You have
and you need like 10 gallons of water.
very similar color scheme and logo to a team that had all of what did you say 10 wins last year. Um, you have a similar color scheme to two other teams in the conference. Um,
Roughly. That one's a bit of a stretch.
I said similar. I didn't say the same. I said similar, as in there are characteristics that could be construed as close, not the exact.
I said a stretch. I didn't.
I don't think it's as much of a stretch as you're trying to portray it to be, Monfrere. God damn it. Ruined all my shit. All right. Things are back where they're supposed to be. God, I hate you.
It's a win for Mike.
It's not. Um,
Oh yes, it is.
let's see. I don't tell me about your team because your team kind of sucked last year, and
We did suck.
I don't know if you guys made a whole lot of changes to be any better this year. To be 100% honest,
One of the players,
I will say you did pick up a nice piece in Joe Molinar from a little bit south of you.
we did. The I gotta find his first name because otherwise I'm gonna butcher it.
Probably will anyway.
Um, so we have Pionk back, Max Plant, and Jason Shagabe. And he is a kid that won Mr. Hockey in Minnesota. Spent the last year playing juniors. He is a goal scorer. He was one of the, well, I mean, obviously was voted the best player in the state. Uh, Depends on how you want to look at players and how they fit on your team. But for him and my Bulldogs, that's something that's desperately needed is goal scoring. It was very evident last year when shoot um Ben Steves, he was our offense and now we lost him. Uh I think it's going to be similar to last year where Shagabe is going to be our only goal scorer, but Pionks, they should have some say in the goal scoring department. Max Plant, he's another one. Played at Hermantown. He should be able to score. He's another freshman. Uh, then Owen Gallatin, Will Francis, Kyle Bettens, older guys that should come in. Oh, Zam Plant. Shit, forgot about him. Uh, Zam Plant is also a forward that's goal scorer. So I think I think we should average at higher goals per game than we did last year. Do I think it's going to be enough to get to the NCAA tournament? No. But if all the guys stay, then I think next year they actually probably should be able to score enough goals and have the defense and the goaltending. Actually, who the hell are our goalies?
You have two freshman goalies and a junior. You have Adam uh, Gajin, Gajan. He's from Slovakia, so there's not a chance in hell I said that one right. Uh,
Yeah, that's true.
Zach Sandy and Clayton Knapp or Clayton Knapp, depends on how his family pronounces that K in the last name. But I'm pretty sure it's one of those two pronunciations, either Knapp or Knapp. But
I would go with Nap.
he's also a freshman. I've heard it both ways.
Zach Sandy. Why do I know his? Oh, well, he's the junior, so that would be why.
And he played. Let's see, what did he do? He played a couple. I want
I,
to say he played a couple games last year. He did. He made
yeah, because when
one.
Stainskull was out, and then he also against last year Bemidji.
Mm, he has one game played, and he won and allowed 5 goals. And I'm wondering if it's not the uh, Denver game from last year that
Um,
that they won in overtime. Because I can't think of another game where you guys scored 5 goals last year.
I'm just surprised we scored 5 goals.
Which hang on,
Um,
let's see. Well, he allowed 5, and I think that what was that? I think that was a 6-5 game, so it would be the only one that makes sense. Because you lost 6-3, 1-2 to 5, 6-2, 4-5. Okay, so 4-5. Maybe it is this one. Let's see. Stop it. No, that was Stay Skull got the L that game. Oh wait, that's right. They did lose that game. Never mind. Wrong one. Ooh, maybe it's the St. Cloud game at the end of the
yep,
year.
it is. It is.
I'm so
He made 33 saves, 2 power play goals against him, gave up 5. Uh,
yeah,
looks like it was overtime because minutes played were 64-53.
yeah. Yep.
But anyway, back to the schedule. But I think for my team, the goal scoring should be up a little bit, but the problem or the question, depending on how you want to look at it, is the goaltending. Uh, we start out with an exhibition against Bemidji State, and then we also start with an exhibition against the University of Manitoba. Actually, I don't know if that's an exhibition. It doesn't say the Bemidji State one is an exhibition, but that's a Saturday, Sunday. And then um we have UMass Lowell, which I think we played them last year, but they tended to be a problem out of Hockey East. Uh, and then we have the Bulldog rejects out of the University of Minnesota. Uh, and I'm trying to remember now. I think they still have Snuggerud who's there, and that kid has a ridiculous shot. Um, so that series that's in Duluth, which is helpful, but if we get shorthanded, we're screwed. We just are. And then we have Stone Hill.
Stonehill lost their ridiculously short but extremely magnetized goaltender from last year. I don't remember where he
Was that
went, but
no? Wasn't that Lindenwood?
yeah, didn't you say Lindenwood or did you say Stonehill? I wasn't
I
100%
said
listening.
Stone Hill, and
Oh,
and you repeated Stone Hill.
did I? Yeah.
Um,
I was dealing with messages and behind the you know backroom stuff. Okay.
but well, to Lindenwood, yeah, he went to the NCHC. Was it North Dakota?
No, North Dakota got the former Arizona State goalie.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, he went to where'd you go, you little
He
shit?
went
He went to
somewhere in that
RIT.
state. Oh, RIT. Oh,
Yep.
damn. Oh, okay. But yeah, so we have it, our non-conference is a little bit different because I don't think we play Alaska. So Lowell, the Gophers, Stone Hill, which I'm happy about. Um, and then we have a pretty e easy start to the conference schedule. We start off
Wait,
at home versus North Dakota, at Miami, but then back home against your Broncos, and then we go to Arizona State. Oh, we do play Fairbanks, but we have maybe the weirdest.
the world's longest home and home series
Yeah,
with. I was just looking at. It, I was like, wait a minute.
Bemidji.
You playing one regular game with Bemidji, then an exhibition with Manitoba, and then completing the series with Bemidji
On New
on
Year's
New
Eve.
Year's Eve in December.
So
Because there's no way, like
my
the
Bulldogs,
Manitoba game is not. That should be. It's not even listed as an exhibition, but that's got to be an exhibition, right?
yeah, it has to be. But my Bulldogs play Bemidji State on October 5th. And then they complete the series in Bemidji on New Year's Eve, a Tuesday night. Like, I conversations need to be had as to why that's even a thing. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna say anymore.
We do
And
still
then I
have
think
former Western goalie up in Manitoba, Ross Howrlock. He played. Who did he play against? Did he play against North Dakota? Maybe. Also, Paul Hornstein from a bajillion other podcasts that should be joining us shortly to give us some insider information on the old Arizona State Sun Devils. Bring a
what
little
the
little
hell,
fire
Paul?
to our ice.
But
Ow.
yeah, otherwise we just have right after the holiday break Fairbanks. So far we are the only NCHC team that is not playing Anchorage, and we are playing the tough Nanooks from Fairbanks.
Man,
Uh
they're scrappy. They're fighters.
yeah, because was it 2 years ago that Western was up there?
We played Anchorage when we went to Alaska. We did not play Fairbanks,
So
but Fairbanks got
Anchorage is the
into
one with the new arena.
what? I don't know.
I thought you guys played in the new arena.
I don't know what the arena was. It was on YouTube. It was hard to watch. I know it was not Fairbanks because they were green and white. And we definitely played Anchorage, but Fairbanks also got in that huge huge fight with Omaha last year,
Yeah.
and then also at the end of the year that had the player who fought the Arizona player out of the penalty box at the very last game of the season.
That's what hockey needs more of.
I
Because
don't.
that was badass.
I mean, two players got kicked out of the. Well, I think one was graduating anyway. I think the Arizona State kid was leaving college hockey anyway. Maybe the Alaska kid suspended indefinitely. Possibly. Um, but and then a lot of dudes from Arizona, or not Arizona. God dang it, Alaska had a lot of guys transfer too.
Yep. Both teams did. Uh,
Fairbanks had a lot of guys go to Omaha, or did they get guys from Omaha? No, they got a guy from. They sent two to Omaha after fighting with Omaha last year. That's what it was. They also have Luke Johnson, former Duluth Bulldog, up there.
yeah, he wasn't worth that much. But, um,
I mean, he'll get to say hi to some friends. Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
I
12,
mean, good for
13.
him that he's gonna get playing time, but
13 guys from Alaska entered the transfer portal last year. Oh no, I have to change scenes. We have a friend joining us.
What's
There
up,
you are.
gentlemen?
How's it going?
Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Just
Welcome back.
thank you for having me back. I'm surprised that after the first time you actually would do that, but thank you anyway.
I'm
Thanks for.
surprised that we're still talking at this point.
Well, we did show up a little bit late, so
Did we? Yeah,
Oh, yeah, my bad.
it's all
My
good.
bad.
Listen, I was doing my own before this, so 13 guys. You guys just were talking about the portal and Fairbanks, how they get screwed every year.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and well, both them, Fairbanks and Anchorage,
yeah,
because I think Anchorage lost like the same amount of guys, or close to it.
yeah. I'm just gonna call it up on my bookmarks here. So just don't mind the side of my head. It probably makes me better looking anyway. So, I
10.
I
10
mean,
transferred out from Anchorage.
just the fact that those teams are competitive every year, the I get the utmost respect for those coaches. I mean, going in, it's a hard enough gig to begin with,
You,
and
you got to convince those kids that, hey, guess what? You're gonna come play where it's light out for about 3 hours a day, and we don't have a conference, and you get to play against the some of the toughest teams in the nation.
and
Hey, here we go.
and I know they're trying to make better buildings. I mean, if Fairbanks is trying to get a new building put up. and Anchorage is trying to do the same thing. And it's a slow process up there, as you can imagine, just like it is everywhere else, maybe even harder. But
That
it's insane. Like Fairbanks got screwed. But I mean, I know it's the system. I get it. They had that spot until Colgate ran the table to get the AQ from that conference. And could you imagine? I mean, you know, could you imagine what that would have done for that program and even Anchorage by osmosis, so to speak, to make the tournament? That they
oh my
they
God.
I mean, uh, and if you go and watch that team play, and I watched them a bunch in the last 3 years, you don't want to play. You better come to play because I mean, as you'll see some of these guys now that have transferred out, like a Harrison Israel's going to Omaha. You got to be kidding! He's. I mean, the players that have left, the Brady Risk going to Omaha. It's just these guys are just. It's not what it's not hard enough to play against those teams to begin with, and now they're getting these guys too. I mean,
Well, and I was as I was looking at the transfer portal and the guys that were transferring into like a Fairbanks or an Anchorage and where they were transferring from, that should be respect to those programs as well because you're transferring from a UMD, from a North Dakota, from say wherever they're transferring from, but these are highly regarded programs, and then they're going
right,
to these Alaska programs. Oh, there's a reason that they're going there, and it's not. It's different than going to a Stonehill, going to a Niagara, going to a Holy Cross, where it's kind of like, oh, hey, I can play. And
well,
they're
is
competitive.
yeah, I mean, and we know there's NIL in college hockey. It's obviously not going to be at the level of football and basketball or even baseball at this point. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, but the bottom line, especially, and you guys probably have seen this too, is guys want to play. And for most of these guys, that's their reasoning for the most part. There are different stories, of course, but for the most part, these guys are going to go somewhere where they can play. Do some of them overvalue their abilities? That's obvious because not all of these guys end up going somewhere after they leave their building. So,
Yeah,
and
I think that's the the biggest thing is you look at the transfer portal and when the rink puts out their spreadsheet of everybody,
right,
particularly looking at the NCHC, a lot of the guys that are going into the portal, games played, two, three. Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. You want to get out of there. And then you have the Colorado College. There are a lot of seniors because they don't have a grad program and they want to keep playing. That also makes sense.
right.
It's the guys that we were talking about it earlier where uh there was some kid from Miami and he left. He went to Augustana.
Right.
Okay, great. Then he comes back to Miami, and I'm kind of like,
I'm trying to figure out.
what?
Let me see who we're talking about here. You say he went from all. Let me just see who we're. Only because
Silvers.
we so yeah. I mean, it's either
It's
I
yeah,
Silvers.
think it was Silvers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian Silver.
Yeah.
Um, Again, I don't know. Does Augustana have a grad program?
It's a great
I
question.
don't know, to be
Yeah,
honest.
I know two things about Augustana. One, they're in Sioux Falls,
Right.
and two, CJ Ham, the fullback for the Minnesota Vikings, went there, and he's from Duluth. Those are the two things that I know about that program and that school. I
Well, for one thing, they have money. They have,
they
um, they do. There's I there's a few schools in that play Division One that are small private schools that have plenty of cash.
well, they're
Uh,
Division two and everything else.
right. I understand that. But you know, they got a giant size donation to put the building up right away.
Well, they had it
Uh,
because I think they're playing in the Sanford Center.
right. Yeah. Well, that's the yeah. Denny Sanford gave them no. They gave him the money. Um, St.
Yeah,
Thomas.
but that's been there for years, so
Right. St. Thomas has got loads and loads of cash.
that one I definitely know they
Okay.
do.
Loads of cash. I mean,
You don't you don't have to tell me.
okay.
I
Uh, um, I know this one will surprise you. Stonehill is basically uh, is also got a lot of cash. Now, they may not be showing it the way they're developing their program. And as I try to compare them to LIU, which the two of them are in the same multi-sport conference and are very connected at the hip. They seem like they're going at it even slower than LIU is. And I love LIU, don't get me wrong. Brett Riley's great. It was the perfect choice, hockey royalty family to build that program. Um, and they did it, and they started it during COVID to boot. So, but um, Stonehill, lots and lots of cash.
um
They're just taking it very slowly.
that's what I was going to ask you too is um LIU they're a new startup and same with Lindenwood.
Right,
They're a new startup, and I personally don't know a lot about those programs in general and how much cash they have. As far as Lindenwood, I'm a little bit more familiar with them,
right,
but they went the route of Arizona State in the sense of they were a dominant club hockey team, and then they went like they looked around and basically said, "Hey, we don't know what we're doing here. We need to go Division One." How does Long Island where do they fit in comparison to like a Stonehill or um a St. Thomas, even though St. Thomas got kicked out, they still have a lot of money versus
right.
an Arizona State or a Lindenwood that had the club hockey team.
I will sit here and I will describe the best way I can the LIU thing. First of all, they play in the Islanders practice facility. Um, and the Islanders have given them a lot of space. And and the way that it seems to me, and I've been there a few times, that they're approaching this is we want to get everything set up first. Like they want to get the behind the scenes, the weight room type stuff, the players' facilities, that kind of uh, you know, behind the curtain sort of mishigash done before they make whatever their next step is to go up to the next level.
Build the foundation and then build
Right,
the house.
right. Um, there is no question. that when they did it, it shocked everybody. Not just because it was COVID, but because it came literally out of nowhere. Everybody kind of figured that if there was ever going to be a Division One team on Long Island, it would have been Stony Brook, which has the ACHA history. Okay. Um,
And their Division One, Stony Brook's Division One for like all other sports, like
yes,
mid-major. Yeah.
yes,
Yep.
yes. They're a part of. Um, are they part of the? I don't. They switched leagues. But they're Division One and all the other. They're mid major. I don't think they're in. Are they? I don't think they're in the Northeast Conference. I think they were at one point.
Are they?
Uh, but
Uh,
everybody thought
I'm
if it was
looking it up.
yeah, everybody thought that if it was going to happen, that's where it would happen. Okay. Um.
There's at least yeah, CAA.
Okay. Yeah, the
Well,
Colonial Athletic Association with a bunch
yep,
of like Delaware and Old Dominion and
yep, yep.
and those kinds of places. Everybody assumed that if it was ever going to happen, that would be the school. Um, because they did have the club program history. And they've been pretty good at it for a while too. And they're actually just going to be part of uh, getting into a new ACHA league next year with Pitt and Syracuse and Louisville and North Carolina and I know I'm missing. I think it's like 8 teams, and I'm pretty sure I'm missing one. But they're going to be in the ACCHL.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that sounds kind of like the ACC
Yeah.
with a lot of these teams.
Yeah. Let me just and they just announced this. To be honest, let's see.
What?
Um,
Somebody hockey related who knows how to announce things?
well, let's not get crazy.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, this isn't even. Yeah, like I said, it's got one of the Carolina schools, like I said, Louisville, Syracuse, Pitt, I can in the like I said, I'm looking it up here too as we um here we go. North Carolina State, uh sorry for the looking at the computer while I'm not looking at the computer.
Oh, you're good. I mean, the start of the show, well, actually, kind of the whole show. Wes can attest. I have been a disaster.
You usually are. It's fine.
Well,
You learn to
Well,
work from
well,
it.
more than normal. I
part of
was
the
more than normal.
Working with you is as easy to navigate as a Michigan road.
let's see. Alabama,
It's not easy
Louisville,
at all.
NC State, North Carolina. And those are like the southern parts of that league. And I'm pretty sure, like I said, it's Syracuse, Pittsburgh, Stony Brook, maybe Delaware, um, forming that league. So,
Hmm.
um, it's and I know at least I've been told whether or not it ends up happening that way or not is another story. But the boosters want in at Carolina. They
That'd be
want
big.
they want in to NCAA D1 hockey. Um, Georgia's getting a building. That's the hardest part, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
I've heard that.
well, no, they're going to start. They're going to play in there at some point this year. Um, you know, if they're waiting for the donation, if they got an ASU size donation of about 30 million, they'd be ready to go. Um,
Well,
so I mean, it's
it
just, so it's just kind of here and there, and trying to figure this, and people are trying to figure it out, and you know, and that's kind of where, like I said, where LAU just kind of plopped in the middle and just said, "Oh, by the way, we're doing this," and it shocked literally everybody. I mean, I remember being on that Zoom when they announced it because, like I said, it was right around COVID. We were all like, "What?" So
yeah, and
you
well,
never know.
for Lindenwood, I kind of felt bad because I had a class with